Hello my fellow book addicts, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today, I'm going to be talking about Storm Curse by Patricia Briggs, and this is book 11 in the Mercy Thompson series. So, I've had this book since the day it came out, and I've been holding back on reading it because I am the type of person who will just blow through these books and then kick myself because, okay, now I gotta wait a whole nother year for the next one, and the wait kills me a little bit inside. I'm surprised I lasted as long as I did reading this one, but regardless, I still have to wait until next year for the next book, Smoke Bitten. I love these books. I enjoy this series so much. I enjoy Patricia Briggs' writing style. I love these characters. I am happy with this addition to this series, this addition to the Mercyverse. And I'm so excited that there's going to be another book and that this series is not going to be over just yet. Synopsis-wise, it's been a few months since Mercy has declared the Tri-Cities her pack's territory, since she is basically declared it a neutral zone, and they're still, seeing the consequences of that action come to fruition. A pack of black witches has come into the Tri-Cities and is trying to push Mercy and her pack out, as well as stir up a bunch of trouble. Synopsis-wise, that's all I feel safe saying. There's also going to be some talk between the United States government and the Fae trying, sort some things out. That's how much I feel I can comfortably say without spoilers. I will also add, I do like how I feel the timeline for this whole series gets a little more established to me. One thing that I wish was a little more clear in the books is just how much time passes between books. At some point in this book, there is a brief mention of how long it has been since Mac, that young werewolf kid whom we were introduced to in the first book, Mooncalled, who was killed. There was a little drop oh yeah, it's been 2 or 3 years since then. Now, I've known a couple years have passed since that incident, but I was never sure of how much, so I do like how we get that established. Not a big make or break thing for me, but I'm the type of person who likes to have a good idea of how much time has passed. Just kind of have that base bit of knowledge. So I like how it's okay, it's been X amount of years since that happened. So just a little thing. I don't know if that kind of stuff bothers anyone else, where it's okay, how long has this been since the last book? Is this taken directly after? Is there a few months difference? Is there a few years difference? Sometimes it just does drive me crazy not knowing how much time has passed since the previous book. I like having a timeline in my head, so it's useful, even if that timeline overall isn't important for the story as a whole. But yeah, just glad that was established. And because this is book 11, I don't feel there's too much I can say without risking spoilers. So if you have not read Storm Curse yet, I highly suggest you click away now and do so. So once again, I freaking adore how much the pack loves this RPG game, this pirate game. I don't know why, it is just so endlessly entertaining to me. It's even more entertaining to me how the pack kind of gangs up on Mercy, because when she dies, she goes off and makes delicious treats. So it's okay guys, let's get some brownies. Let's go after Mercy. It's just, I don't know, that mental image that paints for me is just so entertaining. I have also grown super fond of Larry, the Goblin King, and just the fact that there is a Goblin King in general, despite the fact that that brings up so many mental images of David Bowie. And I do like how the cop that Mary Jo used to date was geeking out a little bit. It's Goblin King, huh? That was also very entertaining to me. Just these little things, these little interactions and silly situations, with the miniature zombie goats, was great. I live for those kind of things, and it's what I look forward to in the Mercy Thompson books. Especially little things where it's no, miniature zombie goats. Zombie goats sound too satanic. It's I love that. So another thing that I enjoyed about Storm Curse is how this kind of I don't know if built off of is the right term, but kind of built off of Frostburned. Like, I feel a lot of the Mercy Thompson books, the events in them are kind of isolated. Like, the antagonists or troublemakers in one book don't necessarily have anything to do with the antagonists, troublemakers in previous or following books. If that makes sense, wording it in my brain, it makes sense, but I don't know if I'm making sense out loud. But I do like how, I do kind of like how some aspects of the events in Frostburn have to do with here. Like, Frost was part of a bigger plan for the Tri-Cities. And the whole, like, the pack being kidnapped to try and make Adam assassinate the senator, and us seeing the senator again too, and also finding out that he might possibly be a walker. Very interesting, and I am very, very, very curious to see where that leads. Like, is that going to play a bigger role in the upcoming books? I hope so, because otherwise that's kind of a really weird and random thing to throw in there and never, like, address again. As my creative writing teacher once said, if there's a gun on the table, it has to go off. Don't be dropping unnecessary information if it's not going to have some use, if it's not going to be important or mentioned ever again. So, interested to see how that plays a role in the future books, and how that might change the senator's, like, opinion on, like, werewolves and the Fae, if he finds out that he is not completely human as well. And also, definitely gotta say, I really enjoy how we get more witch action in this book. Yeah, Elizabetha, I know I'm probably not gonna say her name right. We see quite a bit of her, like, scattered throughout the books, and I know in the Alpha and Omega series, there's some witch stuff going on in there, but it's nice to have them more at the forefront in this book. I like how Patricia Briggs handled witches. I think Patricia Briggs' witches are really interesting and just intriguing. Like, the concept of white and black witches, I feel, isn't new, but the differences between them and then the middle tier, gray witches, and the differences between them and each other, I thought that was interesting. Not something that I particularly have run into before, so that was cool. And then just the whole hierarchy of witches and whatnot, I just find that fascinating. And I do like how we find out what happened to Roberto, Elizabetha, God, why do I keep stumbling over her name? Her grandson. It was interesting to see what happened to him. I can't say that I was dying to know or even remembered much about him, but the second his name came up, I'm like, wait, wasn't he the traitor in the first book? And it's like, he was! Alright. Throwback. So I like the little throwback, and the answer that, well, I didn't need, was interesting to see what happened. I can't say I felt too bad about Elizabeta's death. I can't say I feel bad or surprised. I wasn't particularly attached to her as a character because we saw so little of her overall. Like, the biggest role I've seen of her was in the last book, Silence Fallen. So I can't say, it's gonna be sad to see her go. I mean, she definitely went down a dark path. And there didn't seem to be much redeeming for her. And if Adam and the pack had given her an inch, how badly would things have ended? It was not worth the risk. They don't like black magic in their territory. She knew that. She knew Adam wasn't going to be happy about it. She did it anyway. You can't really let something like that slide. And also, she was just getting terrifying. I did feel bad for Adam because he had affection towards her. She reminded him of his childhood, his mother, and just, he was fond of her. So I feel bad that he had to be the one to kill her. At least because it was him, he could say that he made it as quick and painless as he could. If he didn't do that then and there, who's to say someone else wouldn't kill her more painfully or as quickly as he did? Or if he didn't kill her then and there, who's to say she wouldn't cause infinitely more harm to other people and things? I don't know where I'm going with this little tangent, but I felt bad for Adam because he now has that kind of weight on his shoulders, but it had to be done. Though I am curious to see where this power vacuum of witches is going to lead in the oncoming books. Like, are some other witches going to be coming in to try and make room for themselves? And if so, are they going to cause problems for the pack or try and work with them? Once again, Patricia Briggs has made me terrified of Wolf. Like, as a character, I enjoy him because he's interesting and unpredictable. But also, I know if I was in Mercy's shoes or if Wolf was a real person, I would be terrified. I am very glad that he is a fictional character, but because he scares me so much, I adore him because it's like any character who can draw like a strong reaction out of me, I love, because it's like someone who is not real can make me feel that way. And also I like getting a little bit more backstory on Wolf because he is a very, very curious character, and just thinking of what makes him tick is just like interesting to me. And I definitely wouldn't mind getting a little more of that just because I'm like, what is his story? How did he get turned? And I don't know if he was just trying to mess with everyone, but is he really like part witch, part wizard? Because they are two totally different things. And if so, how did that happen? How does that work? And who the hell changed him? Because that is a lot of power to give someone. Someone who is part witch, part wizard, and a vampire. It's like, oh my goodness. Learning more about like Mercy's like power as a walker was also really cool. Finding that she can like unmake zombies, free the spirits, and let them go to rest in peace. And then also seeing that power of hers act on Wolf to a point. And how is that going to affect Wolf later on? Curious. Very, very curious. And also I feel it says a lot about Mercy. Like, she had all this power in her hands when she had the zombie threads in her grasp. She could have commanded those zombies to do anything she wanted. She could have commanded those zombies to go after the witches. She had more power in her hands at that given moment than any point in her life. And that kind of power would probably be enough to make anyone go a little power hungry, but yet she chose to let them go, to set them free instead of using them as pawns for herself. So I feel that does say quite a bit about Mercy as a person. There are definitely people out there who would let that kind of power go to their heads and not be quite as free to relinquish it as she was. Also, I liked seeing a little bit of Coyote and Gary again, and I do hope we get to see Gary in the flesh again, because I enjoyed his character, or at least what little of it we've seen thus far. So one final thing that I want to talk about is I'm glad we are slowly getting answers on Sherwood, though I'm not sure if I have fewer or more questions at this point. He definitely seems witchborn. He definitely has quite a bit of power to him. The human side of him doesn't want to remember things, while the wolf side does remember things. And I just really want to know who he is now. I am so damn curious about Sherwood. I need answers. And also, because I waited so long to read Stormcurse, I wasn't too surprised that there was a dragon mentioned, just based on the cover of Smokebitten. Mercy having the smoking like bite mark on her shoulder, which looks like it came from a very large jaw. And like the smoke in the background, and I believe it had like some scales flashed in the background. Either way, that cover looks cool AF. But yeah, I'm like, okay, dragons maybe? Dragons? And then just seeing the dragon in this one, I'm like, oh, cool, dragons. So it wasn't an overly big surprise to me, but it's nice to have that kind of confirmation. Also, I was reading a few of the previous books when the cover for Smokebitten came out, and that kind of made me hyper aware of some vague mentions of dragons in the previous books. I can't remember which, but it was like someone saying, oh, dragons are extinct or dragons don't exist, Or, yeah, you know, that kind of stuff. Is like dragons, it just doesn't exist. I can't remember the exact context, but there were a few passing comments on dragons not existing. So looking back, I can appreciate the little foreshadowing, be it purposeful or not, but I am so excited for the next book. And things make me wonder if maybe any dragon involvement in Smokebitten has to do with Mercy freeing the zombie dragon in Storm Cursed. If maybe the family of that dragon, because Z commented, oh, this is totally a baby dragon, because full-grown dragons get to be the size of like a bus. If maybe the family of that dragon finds out and wants to thank Mercy somehow or take revenge on her somehow, I don't know. I am curious, and I do think that might be the connection, the baby dragon and whatever dragony things go on in Smokebitten. So yeah, those are my thoughts and opinions on Stormcurse. For anyone still watching, what do you think? Are there any bits that I didn't talk about that you want to talk about? What were some of your favorite parts in this book? What's your favorite book in this series so far? Let me know. Let's get a discussion going. So yeah, that is it for this book review, and I hope to see you guys next time.